Yo guys, Ponchy here, and today I'm going to show you how to get a fat sound out of your Moog Minitaur. Let's go. Alright guys, so assuming you have a MIDI keyboard hooked up here, we're going to start with just one oscillator. So this is the first oscillator, that's the second oscillator, the levels for both of those. So we're going to start with the first oscillator about 3 o'clock, almost all the way up. If you turn it up all the way, you'll actually start to get a little bit of distortion. So I'm going to leave it there for now so it's a little bit of a cleaner sound. Oscillator 1, I have it set to sawtooth. So it sounds like this. And I have, of course, the first and foremost thing with getting a bass sound is you want to play on the lower octaves, of course. So that's, you know, it's getting a little thick because it's a Moog, but there's a little bit we can do to thicken it up a little bit. So the biggest trick on here, if you've seen my Moog grandmother video, then you'll know a little bit about what we're about to do. But basically, we have our first oscillator set. Let's go ahead and set our second oscillator. Normally, your frequency will probably be right about there, right about 12 o'clock. So let's go ahead and add in the second oscillator. Okay, I'm going to add it in, have both levels equal, so that way you're getting the same amount out of each oscillator. The combination that I like, you know, there's only a couple different combinations here for waveforms, but that's totally fine. I like when oscillator 1 is on sawtooth and oscillator 2 is on square. Personally, that's my favorite sound, but we'll go through, I'll show you what the others sound like, the other combinations, so you can kind of choose for yourself which one you want to do. So right now, both oscillators are set to the same frequency. Up here you have a frequency knob and it says VCO2, which corresponds, of course, to oscillator 2. So the biggest trick you want to do is detune the second oscillator so that it's not exactly the same as the first oscillator. So you'll get this sound. Let's turn the frequency down a little bit, cut off. So as you can hear, when we detune the second oscillator, your sound automatically thickens up. And this is kind of just to taste, you know, you don't want it to sound like it's completely out of tune. You just want it to sound kind of like microtonally out of tune. There's in tune. There's out of tune. There's way out of tune. So there's two different ways you can approach this. You can do the a little bit out of tune method that I just showed you. Or you can actually go down all the way. When you go down to the minus, it's actually an octave. So you'll want to apply the detune method to that. You don't want them to be exactly in tune because an octave, you know, an octave blends together. There's not a lot of you know, you don't get that same detune effect. So here, let's turn this down an octave. So right there, you can just hear with your ears that they're perfectly in tune. That's still a pretty thick sound, not gonna lie, but if you tune it back up just a hair, then you get that same detune effect with it being an octave lower. The only thing about doing this octave method is that if you get too low, you know, it doesn't, you kind of get that borderline, you know, that sound that is not exactly pleasing to the ear. So you'll have to play probably an octave higher to really take advantage of being of having the oscillator an octave lower. So that's just a couple different methods that you can use to quickly get a super fat bass sound out of here. You know, maybe you'd also want to play with the resonance a little bit. Of course, if you turn the resonance up, you kind of lose the low end a little bit. So honestly, if you want to go for the lowest possible thick sound you can get, I would just leave your resonance down. But all right, that should be it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like if you like this video. Subscribe for more of these videos. I'm determined to go through every single synth that I possibly can, showing you how to get fat bass out of them. So keep that in mind, you guys. Stay tuned for the rest of those videos. I got the Prophet one coming up next. I'll do the Sub Fatty eventually, and we'll just keep going from there. So thank you guys for watching, and see you next time.